I was looking for an email link and I couldn't find one in my email anywhere. I just got one just a few minutes ago.
Check your junk
I did.
mail.
I'll
Guys,
speak for
You're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. Quiet one. You may not feel it now. Rest yourself and now. But your time will come.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Duncan Showroom's live broadcast through Zoom and live in the room for the Love of Words 13th anniversary. Birthday. What's the difference?
Same, I think it's the same.
For the Love of Words. There's a difference, or else they wouldn't use two different words. Hey, this is kind of cool, you know.
All right.
Yeah, so we got a kind of neat situation going on here in that it's been 13 years since we started this. And you know what? We're not starting at 7:30 exactly, because I don't think at any time has the For the Love of Words has ever started at 7:30.
Or any show that you put on.
No, that's not true.
Far
We
side
are
of-
on time. Many a time we're on time.
It's a poetic start, yeah.
Before we get, within moments, there's going to be more people online, ready to talk. Like, there's a lot of people. Isn't there still other people coming, Mark?
There must be.
Let's see. Finally, here, Debbie. Finally.
Debbie,
Cool.
Bob and Helen might join late.
How can you be late for Zoom?
They have another Zoom workshop, apparently. Hi, Deb.
Oh.
Yay.
Hi, yay.
Hi, Deb.
So this is kind of cool that we're being able to broadcast even through all these times when we're supposed to be, well, it's kind of like a lockdown, but not. We all have to keep the idea of if we keep our
Mary. Hey,
if we
Mary.
keep our social distances.
Oh my God! Look at Mary. She's got
Yeah,
long hair.
Oh my goodness, they talk amongst themselves. No talking when the other performers up there, right? You guys got that, right? Bill knows the rules.
Are you kidding?
No. Hey, Larry, this is really cool. It was 13 years ago where we started this over at the Duncan Garage Showroom. It was a weird concept where Rob McKenzie had been around, or was it Wilson first?
I think it was part of came out of the cabarets, of which Andrew was part, and then
But it was a
Rob.
Tuesday night. We said poetry. It was specifically done for poetry, and you got up and I had a drum,
Right.
set up high,
Yeah.
and it's trying to do that whole Greenwich Village time era thing, right? Way back in there, it was like sort of performance art, and the keyboards running. And I know that Rob McKenzie a couple of times showed up.
He did.
and played the background because he loved the idea of just sort of playing off what you were doing.
Right. Yes, it was very interesting.
And that was a kind of because it wasn't the music; it was more that the music followed the mood. It was great the way you guys played off each other, anyway. And I know that Andrew Wilson was there for a couple of them,
Yeah.
and you did do that cabaret thing. But we've been doing it just straight up for poetry, for the love of words, for 13 years.
It's amazing, John, and thank you so much for the idea and the invitation. And it's been a good run.
Well, it's been a lot of fun keeping this place open for all that time.
Indeed. So we hope.
And I want to thank, by the way, I want to thank Creative BC gave us a $10,000 grant just recently, which they've been doing to a lot of places. They had $2.2 million to give away. 7.4 million people worth of requests came in, and we were still able to get in that top of the people that were asking. We were able to get in and get some money, and that money was to make sure that we could pay our rent, make sure that we could keep our hydro, make sure whatever it took to keep us going, because they saw the benefit of what it is that we're doing. Live streaming is the new way of the future for the next little while, because that's all we're going to have. So we can't not break our community or our connection. So we just have to figure out the flow.
Oh,
The flow. Oh,
Nice.
this is what we are. Flow.
nice reference.
Wasn't
Good.
it?
Good way to tie it all together, big guy.
I know. That was a fluke. Fluke in the flow.
He's been practicing his shtick for years, haven't you?
All because of you, because I couldn't find you for a couple of times, and I had to fill in for you.
That's right, and you've grown into the role.
Well, thank you very much.
That's right.
You can have your job back sometime. By the way, you're doing a great job with this thing with Eugene Smith. 21 episodes so far.
We just came out of our show this afternoon with Eugene Smith, Tales and Travels, and a young fellow who's going to read tonight. Paul Rozelle was our guest today, so that's really cool. Continuity.
A lot of comments about the bee song.
Yeah, Paul
Yeah.
Paul played a great song about bees. You should look it up. Emma Haley's here too for the anniversary, and Dr. Ted. Yeah.
A minimalist evening in the room.
Sorry.
A minimalist.
Right, we're playing it
Gathering.
very safe in the room. We're all distanced.
But for all those people that are out there, they're all just
Chomping at the
frothing
bit.
at the mouth.
Frothing and chomping.
They want to talk.
Yeah.
They got things to say.
They do.
Well, I want to thank you, Bill, for staying the course, because a lot of times it just didn't make much sense for us to be doing it, right? We kept on persevering, and because we did, we got to here.
Well, no, I would say that as well. And I mean, there were times when I thought maybe it'll involve pole dancing with poetry, but it's in its stripped down form.
Hey,
Whoa!
I like that one.
Really, it's in its stripped down form is all it needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Thank you all.
I dedicate this one to Les Forchuk, by the way.
Les Forchuk.
Les Forchuk, because I found out just the other day that he died a couple of years ago, but he was one of those kids back in Lethbridge when I first got there, was going to university, who would do things like poetry readings from trees down in the bottom and stuff like that. And
Nice.
he had a chance to hang out with Jim Morrison a bit, and he kind of had that persona about him still, But he was a great poet.
Mhm.
And because I just found out about this, I'll let Axel Beal know that you guys are doing this tonight, so he can watch and we can commiserate on the poor boy who's left us.
We dedicate this one to Les.
Good night. I'm gone. You're up.
Thanks, John. Mr. Longevity John, ladies and gentlemen, our host. The host with the most. Yeah. Well, welcome, everybody. And it is the birthday or the anniversary, depending on how you feel. And so tonight I've got two pieces, if I can see them. And one of them is written by Mr. Hadfield, New John. And the reason I chose it was because it companioned well with my song Skating. So his is a song as well, and I'm looking forward to playing them. John, the recording John sent me was kind of what do you think, John? A Jayhawks, Country Joe and the Fish electric version. Really good. Yeah, he's laughing. A really good version. And I was kind of hearing, Stompin' Tom. So I guess when I work my way towards it, it'll be somewhere in the middle. Anyway, I got a couple for you here. If I can see. Should I move the mic, Ed? This one?
Yeah, you can get it out of the way.
Oops, I need to go way back over here.
Here we go. He shoots and he scores. John Hadfield. We're walking at night down a frozen street. Snow so crisp you can hear it squeak. Skates over shoulders, stick through the blades. Lots of chatter about the hockey greats. Heading down to the rink in the park. Gonna play hockey after dark. Ain't no problem if the lights come on, 'cause when they do, the game is on. Night before, the old man and the crew were keeping warm in the clubhouse, drinking brews. They were supposed to flood the rink that night. They left the hose on full at center ice. Now there's a hump for a center line. You could raise the puck without even trying. It stayed that way until the spring came. We didn't care, just want to play the game. And it's hey, it's hockey night. Pickup game beneath the lights. A bouncing puck coming off the boards. A backhand pass. He shoots and he scores. Well, it's 10 below as we shovel the snow with frozen toes and running noses. We pick the teams from big and small. You're Toronto. We're Montreal. Drop the puck. Everybody starts whacking. Blades are singing. Sticks are clacking. Falling snow muffles all the sounds. Repeat this scene in every Canadian town. You ready? Chant along. And it's hey, it's hockey night. pickup game beneath the lights, bouncing puck coming off the boards, a backhand pass, he shoots and he scores. Pass the puck, I'm in the clear. Little kid yells, I'm over here. Big kid steers the puck to him. Goalie goes and lets one in. Whoa! Well, everybody cheered that kid. He'd never forget, long as he lived, how he scored the winning goal. Shot it right through the old 5-hole. And it's, hey, it's hockey night. Pickup game beneath the lights. Bouncing puck coming off the boards. A backhand pass, and he shoots and he scores. He hears the echoes of those yells on cold winter nights as the snow falls. Can't remember what you just said, but he scored again somewhere in his head. They put him away in an old age home. Him and his memories, they ain't alone. Watches hockey from his wheelchair. You'll hear him mutter, I'm over here. And it's, hey, it's hockey night. Pickup game beneath the lights. Bouncing puck coming off the boards. A backhand pass. He shoots. He scores. Gotta go, John. I love that one. It's just got the whole story, not just of the rink, but of the man's life. And beautifully done, John.
Thank you.
I don't want to swell your what's
Okay.
it too much, but really nicely done. So mine is called Skating, if I can remember it. Wait a minute. It's the first line, isn't it, Paul, without the guitar? Oh, yeah. Hard snow, country ice, frozen roads, and I'm traveling twice as fast. Hold on to the edges as you skate out over the fields of snow. It's 2 feet deep and crusty hard on top of white powder. If you dig down, you'll find it. Sweet under the edges as we skate out over the frozen fields. My daddy's out there flooding the rink. I'll stay till I'm frozen. I'll stay too long. Cause I'm crazy for skating. I love the speed. Come on, let's go. Yes, I love playing hockey, the stick on the puck. I love the excitement as the big guys go whizzing past. Hold on to those edges for a chance to shoot the puck one day. Because you'll be 2 feet taller when you score your first goal, they say. Yeah, you'll be part of the magic, dreaming of the NHL someday. Come on now, skate away over the frozen fields. You've got your chance, break away over the fields of snow. I got so many layers on I can't count, wool mittens and my long johns too, but I'll still freeze my butt off as I'm skating over the frozen fields of snow. There's Mama calling for supper time. It's getting dark, but I'm starting to fly. Stick handle like Jean Beliveau, my hair's flowing back. Look, just like Yvonne Cornwallis. Into the snowbank, chasing the puck. I knock David over, I'm way too rough. 'Cause the cold is alive, and I'm crazy for skating out on those fields of snow. I'm gonna play until I'm good. I'm gonna master the puck on wood. I'm gonna have a slap shot just like Guy Lapointe. Wait and see. And I'll stay till I'm frozen, skating over those frozen fields of snow. Crap. I'll play till I'm worn out. I'll stay till I can't get my skates undone. Thank you. Mostly intact. And as Paul and John will attest, it's weird to do a song without your guitar in your hand. But thank you. That was the Hockey Suite. And I'm going to invite Paul Rozelle up to start off the night because this is a new... Oh, no, he was here years ago, weren't you, Paul?
Years ago.
A well-known songwriter, local personality, a lovely guy, and he's going to share some poetry with us. Welcome, Paul. Whoop, get my crap out of your way.
Hello, everyone. This is virtually my first virtual reading. I should preface this to tell you I was banished and exiled in Mexico for 5 months last year, unable to get home to Canada.
Oh.
It wasn't exactly torture, but I used it as a 5-month-long meditation retreat, and I read a lot of Rilke and Rumi and Hafiz, And so and this is all poetry from that Mexican stint. And so this is the first one. It's just, it's called Awakening in Death. At the moment of Buddha's awakening, Venus broke into the dawn sky. The earth itself shuddered as if drunk on bliss. No one anywhere was angry, ill, or sad. No one did evil. None were proud. The world became quite quiet, as though it had reached full perfection. At his dying, the earth shook. Trees suddenly burst into bloom, blossoms falling gently, divine coral flowers and sandalwood powders fell from above out of reverence. It is the same with you and I, awakening or dying, suffused with beauty, drunk with bliss, the world shaken into full perfection. Here's one I call Source. You are an infinite well, the source of all I have to give, the hollowest shell echoing back the endless sea. I ask for nothing save to share this moment fully. I ask for everything, in being granted even the possibility of such closeness. You are the fulfillment of all song, the most exquisite lyric, the deepest meaning, a pulsing resonance of all creation. You are the dance and the space between every note. Can one ask of creation the forgiveness of having forgotten itself? The playground. I am a child in the playground of love. What know I the ways of an open heart? To laugh, run and sing in total abandon, a never-ending dance around the maypole, weaving and unweaving all the colored ribbons, welcoming the fruits of spring, the goodbyes of winter forever forgotten. I am a child in the playground of love. What know I of boundary and separation? The sun shines on all sides of the fence, clouds drift, the wind caresses, the sea breathes in endless rhythm and breaks on endless shores. A cup brimming over with love spills in all directions. Lean into me. Just lean into me until you stop trembling. Derail all your trains of consequence. Banish your small fears. Listen to your own breathing. Just lean into me. Let your body rest where it will. Hold as tight or as loosely as you need. I will conform to you, as steady as a breeze, to give you all the space you seek. Just lean into me. Tumble where you're falling. Always land where you need to be. Until you feel control is the last to be released. Just lean into me. Be comfortable in the darkness. Don't worry about what you can't see. Everything is here. Just one thing you will lose. All sense you ever had of leaning into me.
Those are lovely, Paul.
Thank you. And here's the last one. I just call this a prayer. Keep me from withdrawing, from shrinking back into longing, the tight box, the castle with no doors and windows, the city of dead-end streets, the gyroscope of living spinning on one spot. Keep me from withdrawing to quarters marked with comfort and security, to a place where all things have their place, into sorrow or dreams, past or future, into this push to push away, into leaving broken dreams littering the path, into walking on the shattered glass of false mirrors. Keep me from withdrawing into the tortoise shell of personal hurt and separation, into a place of pointless decision, into a world where ego is screaming, if you don't like the heat, get out of the kitchen. Keep me from withdrawing, from the endless joys of listening, from the raw intensities of heart, from this soaring groundlessness. Keep me from withdrawing into withdrawal. Here we go. Thank you all.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks, Paul. And yeah, we had a great session this afternoon. Paul sharing a couple of his songs. Now you'll note that it was on. Mark made a comment, and that came into the room, didn't it, Ted? Yeah. On the loudspeaker. Woo. Deb, where did Deb go? Are you still there? Have you got?
I am. Thank you, Paul. I really enjoyed your poems.
Thank you.
Yeah. The Laughing Heart by Charles Bukowski. Your life is your life. Don't let it be clubbed into dank submission. Be on the watch. There are ways out. There is light somewhere. It may not be much light, but it beats the darkness. Be on the watch. The gods will offer you chances. Know them. Take them. You can't beat death, but you can beat death in life sometimes. And the more often you learn to do it, the more light there will be. Your life is your life. Know it while you have it. You are marvelous. The gods wait to delight in you.
Sorry, what's that one called again, Deb?
The Laughing Heart.
Laughing Heart, right.
I read it almost daily.
Nice. It's a good chant.
Yeah, I love it. Sounds better in his voice, though.
Oh, no, you did great.
And I'm not terribly prepared, so I'm just going to read from something that I've been working on lately. This is how it starts, and it's called The Showing. You'd stepped inside the newly listed house, a luxury property on the rise above Maple Bay. I'd shaken your hand and stepped back to a socially acceptable distance. And then comes the question, don't you recognize me? Sunlight floods the marble floor between us. The front door is closed. Such moments happen to all of us, especially as we get older. A person from our past shows up and we have no idea who they are. There's a keenness in your eyes, like you want me to affirm your importance in my life, your mark on my history, the page with your name on it. Sorry, I say with a polite smile. I'm drawing a blank. Why don't you help me? There's a faint recollection covered in dirt deep in my brain, and I can't seem to bring it to the surface. The darker roots of your gray hair give you a disheveled look I might have known if it weren't for the face-altering effect of a greatly expanded forehead. From the blocky shape of your torso, I sense you were once athletic, although you've begun to soften. Come now, Alice. You whisper my name as if overcome by an erotic memory only the two of us share. More likely, I shook your hand once at a networking event, not for the first time. I think about slipping the wedding ring from my long-over marriage back onto my finger. As a real estate agent, I'm used to holding my personal power in a variety of situations, many of them with men. Often returning to practical matters is all it takes to sustain the necessary tone of professionalism. This property has only been on the market a week, but we've had a crazy amount of interest, what with the ocean view, the solar heating, the vaulted ceilings, the fine woodwork throughout. How long have you been looking? The corner of your mouth twists, and a slippery feeling overtakes me. I slide down a musty rabbit hole with my skirt flung upwards and my panties showing, and my howling mouth filling with dirt. A Gold Star real estate agent, one of the finest in the area, sunk into darkness. One look from you, and I turn into a girl unable to take care of herself. But a moment later, when I check your face again, the smirk has been so thoroughly erased, I wonder if it was ever there. This is the first house, you say, moving to the side to walk around me. Brochures are fanned over an accent table. I grab one for you, thinking with my back turned, you'll have enough time to move past. And with a little space, I'll regain my composure. Except when I turn around, you're an arm's length away, not moving. Although your dull gray eyes are fixed on me, I tell myself there's nothing to worry about. As I search for signs of emotion, evidence of your intention, and I find nothing, nothing at all. And that's when I know who you are. Fred, I ask in a weakened voice, how nice to see you. Last time I saw your boxy frame, you were walking away with an arm over the shoulder of another girl, oblivious to my presence a few steps behind. We'd been dating several months. I thought we were serious. It must be 40 years ago now. Without preliminaries, you move in for a hug, swallowing me in your arms, flattening my breasts against your chest, covering my neck with your sticky hot breath, pressing your groin into mine. I giggle in spite of myself, sharp tugs that tear at my guts. With my elbows, I manage to loosen your grip, and I quickly back away.
Ooh, thank you. Is that a piece you've recently worked on?
Yeah, I'm working on it at the moment. I'm only about halfway through.
Nice, I like it. That, the image of Alice falling through the hole, it was apt, wasn't it?
Well, I'm playing around with that. I don't know if I'll pull it off, but I really enjoy other people's work with little bits of magical realism in it. And so I thought, well, I'll play around with it. If it doesn't work, well, I'll try something else.
Right. No, I think it works well.
Yeah,
Nicely done.
thanks.
Thanks for all your hard work, and to all of you, the birthday crew. Who are we missing? Byron, maybe, who might have normally dropped in. Keith Williams, I don't think does Facebook. I'm not sure, but he would be quite interesting on the computer. Thanks, Deb. Mr. Mowat, Stephen, are you still there? John?
John is muted temporarily and
Oh.
video is off. I don't know where he's at.
Oh, okay. Would you like to go, Mark?
Hello, can you hear me?
Sorry?
Yeah, sorry, Mark, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to read from a book that I studied in university when I was taking, what was I taking? 16th century literature or something, or 18th century, I can't remember. Anyhow, the book is called The Courtier, and it's by Baldassare Castiglione. He was, I think, I'm not sure if he wrote his book before or after Machiavelli wrote The Prince. And The Courtier, the whole premise of the book is that you've got these people seated at a dinner party or a gathering, various dukes and what have you, and they're discussing what qualities a courtier should have in order to guide the prince. So this is a delicate job, because if you don't do it right, you lose your head. And so it requires diplomacy and tact. So that's the first half of the book is about what the qualities of the courtier what he must have in order to succeed. And the second half of the book, which was really appealing to young Mark, was what were the qualities of the woman that the courtier would seek to partner with, right? In marriage or in love. And the book is, again, written in sort of Socratic method. So you've got one person speaking, he puts forth an idea, and somebody will say, well, that's very good, but Signor Magnifico, here's some other thing that you should think about. So I'm just going to read an excerpt from this, and this is about love. Yet those who resist the assaults of love are truly admirable, and those who are sometimes overcome deserve all our compassion. For surely the inducements of lovers, the tricks they employ, the snares they spread, are so many and so unending that it is a marvel if a tender young girl manages to escape them. Hardly a day or an hour passes, but that the girl being pursued is urged by her lover with money and gifts and all those things that can be thought to give her pleasure. At no time can she even go to her window without seeing her obstinate lover pass by, with a silent tongue but eloquent eyes, with a downcast and languid expression, breathing passionate sighs, and often as not shedding copious tears. If ever she leaves her home to go to church or elsewhere, he is always there to meet her, and at every street corner he accosts her with his mournful passion depicted in his eyes, as if he expects to expire there and then. And this is not to mention all the dressing up, the inventions, mottos, devices, festivals, dances, games, masquerades, jousts, and tournaments, all of which she knows are for her benefit. And then she cannot wake up at night without hearing music, or at least the sighs and laments of that restless soul wandering around the house. Again, if she should happen to want to speak with one of her maids, the girl has already been bribed to produce a little gift, a sonnet or something of that sort, and hand it to her on behalf of her suitor. And seizing her opportunity, she goes on to declare how the poor man is consumed by love, how he would sacrifice his life to serve her, that his motives are entirely honorable, and that he wishes only to speak with her. All possible difficulties are met with the help of duplicate keys, rope ladders, and sleep potions. The affair is made to seem really nothing to worry about. Examples are given of many other women who do far worse, and in short, the path is made so smooth that all she need trouble to do is to say, I agree. And if the poor girl still resists, yet more inducements are offered, and countless other ways are found to break through the remaining obstacles by repeated assaults. There are also many who, when they see that their blandishments are of little use, turn to threats and say that they will lie about them to their husbands. Others bargain brazenly for what they want with fathers or husbands who, for money or for favors, compel their own daughters or wives to surrender themselves against their will. Others mean to rob women of the free will given them by God by means of incantations and sorceries, and some astonishing things happen as a result. But I couldn't begin in 1,000 years to list the endless tricks men devise to make women do what they want. Indeed, apart from what every man discovers for himself, there has been no lack of clever writers to compose books in which they have applied their talents to teaching the ways in which women can be seduced. So how can our simple doves remain safe with so many snares around, all baited so sweetly to entice them? It is so strange, therefore, that a woman should eventually be persuaded to love a handsome, noble, and well-mannered young man who for many years has demonstrated to her his love and adoration, who risks his life 1,000 times a day just to serve her, and thinks only of her pleasure, and who wears down her resistance, just as water after a time wears away the hardest stone. It is strange that, conquered by this passion, she yields to him what you allege because of the weakness of her sex. She naturally desires far more than he. Is her lapse so grave? The poor creature who has been snared by so many enticements doesn't at least deserve the mercy that is shown even to murderers, thieves, assassins, and traitors? Would you consider the sin so heinous that because some women or another falls, all women must be regarded as despicable and the female sex as impure, regardless of the fact that many of them never yield and are as adamant against the endless temptations of love and as firm in their profound constancy as the rocks against the waves of the sea?
Nice. Thank you.
So I don't entirely remember, because I just picked up this book and flipped it open this evening, and I'm not sure exactly how that fits into the whole find the ideal woman there, but it certainly gives you a sense of the flow of the language and sort of how mellifluous it is.
Thank you, Mark. Well done. And for advancing the concept of excerpt for fledgling young writers like Mr. Hadfield there. Deb? John's Deb, would you like to read something now? We'll put you in front of the big guy. Don't be shy. We won't bite.
The Debs are taking over. Just
Yeah.
you didn't notice.
That's a good thing.
Right.
Deb, you taunt.
Okay.
The gallery.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So this is an excerpt from my blog. I have a blog. It's called My Life Out of 3 Suitcases, and has a whole bunch of different ways. So I took a little piece out of it, and this is it. It's called Petra. Both sets of grandparents spent varying amounts of time in the Middle East. My parents met and lived for a while in Egypt and Cyprus. My brother lived in Dubai, and I have lived in Jerusalem. There is a beautiful, colorful Middle Eastern thread that runs through our family stories. A number of years ago, I went with friends to Petra in Jordan. This place has a special spot in my heart because my father was here a long time ago, and this is the story of my visit to Petra. Driving to the border at the very bottom of Israel, you can see Jordan, Egypt, and off in the distance, Saudi Arabia. The coast is green and lush, but as you move inland, the topography changes, and it is not difficult to imagine Moses wandering lost in the desert. It is confusing, and the mountains appear bare and desolate. We drive up from the coast for a few hours, gaining altitude, and then, once at the top, we drive down into the valley. We make our way to our hotel, settle in, and prepare for a night walking into Petra. 1,500 nightlights have been placed along the path to mark our way to the treasury, nearly a mile and a half. My level of anticipation is high, walking gingerly on stones and gravel and sand through natural rock formations, with the stars overhead and the soft glow of the candles at our feet. As we enter into the long path to the treasury, the overwhelming feel of adventure, past and present, is palpable. We reach our destination and are guided to sit on a dusty red and black Bedouin carpet. We are told the story of the Nabateans and the city carved from the stone, which they built here thousands of years ago. Then the night is filled with Arabian music, soulful singing accompanying the oud, and the haunting melodies of the Bedouin flute. We are served sweet Bedouin tea and sit on our carpet, enraptured by the exotic feeling of the night. The next day, we arise early and head into Petra while it is cool. I am amazed to see what I walked by last evening in the dark. Tombs carved into the rock, jinn blocks, huge squares of granite, and the seek, a long winding path through the rock. I pass the spot where my brother had his photo taken just within the last month, and I am happy to think that he too has passed this way. We come around a corner to see the immense carved frontal of the treasury. It is here that I have a moment. Once upon a time, my father stood here. I lay my hand on the rock in a gentle reminder of the stance he took, in an old photograph, grainy with age. I think of how time is such an odd thing. Last year, I would never even have thought of the possibility that I could be here now. 60 years ago, I am sure my father could not have imagined that he would have a son and a daughter who would one day stand here too. The rest of the day is spent looking through my father's eyes, and I am sure that what I see has not changed too much at all. Certainly the view, the amazing cardo, rock-hewed caves and tombs are still the same. I see the young men running up the stone steps to the highest places. I hear their laughter and joking about on donkeys. I see them with a cool drink in one hand and a cigarette in another. And I see the shadow of my father as a young man everywhere. My father now is an old man, and his recollections are fading. What an honor I have been given to have the opportunity to embrace his memories and make them a part of my own. Altogether, we have a wonderful day. I have put kohl on my eyes and wrapped a scarf around my head in the way of Bedouin women. We have taken donkeys up to the monastery, another huge granite carved building. This was well worth the death-defying trip up. I appreciate that those donkeys go up the mountain every day, but there are places where the steps have been worn away and there are no steps at all, nor is there a safety fence, and the drop is a long way down. When my friend's donkey tripped over its front hoofs, I thought my heart would stop. I will say that the walk down was just lovely. I saw quite a few things I had missed on the way up with my eyes shut tight. And on the final leg home, we rode horses. I like horses. After our fabulous day of antiquities and exercise, we found the Turkish bath and indulged in the steam room, the scrub, and the massage. At dinner, we raised a glass to my dad, family, and friendship. A perfect end to a perfect day. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. So I was
Well,
listening. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say I'm no longer a love of words virgin. So
Yay! You've popped your cherry. Congratulations. And on the birthday too. Oh my God.
On the birthday, what a celebration. Yes, indeed.
How much fun can you have with your clothes on? I tell you, it's so good. Thank you for sharing, and we appreciate you being here. It's really nice to have you. I was watching in the room. We've got the room set up with a monitor showing into the room, so I can hear you throughout the room. And we have 3 audience members, so that's kind of neat. Yes, we're here. 3 and me, Ted. Well, we count you as an extra one. That's right. A young man named Duncan is coming up to share something with us. Duncan, come on up.
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk.
Sweet.
Don't have to touch anything.
Guys, so, alright guys, so I mean, like, this is my poetry, and like, I'm basically gonna do a rhyme poem, and I made it up myself. So basically, I guess like, here's how it goes. I mean, there was a boy who liked to eat Cheerios during the day, and every single day, this guy walked across the bay. Every single woman, I guess, walking down the street was cute. Like, there was some kind of person playing a flute. Therefore, we had to go to school to learn how to play guitar. Then we had to up the ante of the guitar. So the amp was on at night. Whereas, I mean, basically, how can we have a good night? So far, if we walk down to see the moon, yes, we have been to a goon. And if every single person claps at the scene of a nice play, then we can all use art as play. And so far, if every single person on this planet were so nice, then maybe the cat can chase some mice. And finally, if someone says that they love to play games, therefore, if we don't know anybody's names, and that's the first act. And the second act is basically, man, like, basically, I guess, like, I'm like, just imagine for 1 second that you're walking down the street and you have this thought, and you have this thought that you want to do something, and then you don't know what you want to do. And so, like, I guess, like, you look at all the possibilities, you look at the universe, and the universe basically tells you, okay, maybe you have to go to the beach. And you go to the beach and you see this huge, I guess, water, I guess, at the river. And then you just basically, I guess, like, just imagine the river at the beach, and just sitting there and just thinking about the actual waves and thinking about what you hear. If there's basically like no noise. Like, all you hear is the waves, all you hear is the ocean, all you hear is maybe a boat going across the sea. And therefore, you know that it's also silent. And the waves, I'm basically just remember those waves crashing onto you, and just like that nice breeze on your back of your skin, and knowing that you are at peace, and knowing that you basically know that you have, I guess, everything in that bay, and then knowing now you can just hear the birds above you and hear the waves crashing across the bay. So therefore, you feel, oh, this is a great scene, and you know that that's what you want to feel, and that's that's my poetry, guys, for this week.
Thank you, Duncan.
Thanks, Duncan.
Thanks, Duncan. Very nice. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Duncan.
Yeah.
Duncan's been taking advantage of the open mic Tuesdays quite a bit, haven't you, with doing monologues and comedy? And
Yeah.
so thanks again to John and Ted and Trevor for staying open. Mary, you still out there? Oh, is Mary still on?
Mary's still there.
Did you you want to share anything with us tonight? Oh, her picture's not there.
The picture is there, but I'm not sure if her
you're
mic
back.
is on or not.
Mary, you there?
Yeah, she's back. I see her. Get your sound unmuted, Mary?
I'm looking on my side to
Sound
see.
muted. Unmute your sound, Mary.
Could be your sound, yeah.
Unmute.
Really tell her.
Her
Yeah, she's muted.
Oh, you're muted, sweetie.
Yeah.
Mary's
There you
muted.
Well, I haven't got her muted.
No, she's not muted anymore. She's good now.
Oh, you there, Mary?
Talk, Mary. Oh, I can't hear you. What? Where's your sound?
Mary, how could you do this?
Your microphone. Choose your microphone.
Tim's talking like crazy. You guys can't hear him.
No, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Nothing yet, Mary.
Oh.
Change your microphone. Go into settings. Do a right click on something and choose your microphone.
Even on.
You should be good.
Okay, maybe we could carry on and come back to you, Mary, if that's okay. If you take the pressure off for a minute. I see Stephen's joined. How about John Mowat? We passed you by a minute ago. John, have you got something for us? And keep in mind, we do have a few readers left, so yeah, just keep that in mind. John? Hi.
There we go. Okay, got it. Yeah. Bill, what I'd like to do here is, I presume you can still hear me even though I've got the video off. Is that right? Can you still hear me?
We can hear you. Now we see your
Hello?
name.
We can hear you and see your name, yeah.
Okay, good. All righty. Because what I have to do to set up to read this thing is just better if I have the video off. So I will do that. And I was just going to read a couple of paragraphs here from, this is a piece called, it's a short story called The Vault of the Wordmonger. Kind of fits in with, the love of words that we're doing here. It's written by Nick Hunt. Now, how's my voice? My voice level okay?
Good. Very good, yeah.
Thank you. Our father bought words once a week. He was a big man in our town, and fresh words gave him status. He paid for them in animal parts from the farm our family owned, and sometimes in mineral parts from the mine beyond the hill. He did not own the mine, but he had interests there. The animal parts and mineral parts he carried there in his hands, and the words he carried back in his mouth. That is the way to carry words. When I say back, I mean he carried them back to the house in which we lived. It was a large house with pillars and a garden. When I say there, I mean to the wordmonger, which is where the words came from. I do not know how it was in your town, but that is how it was in mine. The wordmonger had her shop at the bottom of the hill, and we lived at the top. Not at the very top, of course, but close enough to matter. This meant that our father carried the words back uphill, which meant that he was out of breath by the time he reached our house. He could not use the words straight away, or they would have come out broken. All of us would gather around waiting for him to speak the words. By us, I mean myself and my sister and my brother and my other brother. Our father would speak the words, and we would wonder at their shapes, their rounded bits and their curves, their hard sounds and their edges. Then he would speak them again with a bit more confidence. Sometimes he would shout them. Later that night, he would take his words to the place where other big men drank, and he would demonstrate their use. A crowd would go around him. I felt lucky as a child to have a father who could buy fresh words when he felt like it. I hoped to grow up like him. That's it. Thank you.
Very nice. And who was the author again, John? Sorry.
The name is Nick Hunt. I'll just get the video on it. Yeah, this is from this anthology from the Dark Mountain Project in the UK that I've been enjoying reading.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, Dark Mountain Project, United Kingdom. Twice a year they put up these anthologies, and there's some that's quite lovely writing. So thank you.
Very, very good. The concept is a good one. It's kind of a little Brodigan-ish in the beginning. We had Gord Malcolm, who owns, what's the pawn shop called? Heritage Pawn used to come years ago, mostly when we were at the garage and read pretty much everything that Richard Brodigan ever wrote, and that was a good chapter in the flow. Now, the original show, as I posted it was called Slam the Poets. I don't know where we were headed. I thought it would be something like a poetry slam. It's never been like that. Probably a good thing. And but it was mostly a rock and roll show. Oddly, we did do some of the beat. I did some of the beat style with music behind that John was suggesting. But we had a lot of rock and roll. And the only pure reader that night was Stephen Faulkner. So so glad that you came back, Stephen, 13 years later, and you're still reading. You want to share something with us?
Yep, sure. You hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. This is a piece that I wrote in 2013. It's a bit of a rant, 3 pages, and it's a little bit timely because of all the comings and goings down south of the border in the US. It's I just found this again on my computer, so I dug it up. So 13 years is it since we started? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Our garment of destiny. We are tied together in a single garment of destiny, caught in an inescapable network of mutuality. The words of Martin Luther King Jr. I do not resent my lot in this lifetime. It just took me 45 years to figure out the mutuality part, which is actually a network of destiny, which is actually the web of life, which I did not weave, which is like a spider's web of which I am merely a strand, which sometimes looks like a dream catcher. And I am the dream, and someone is dreaming me in the dream time. In the dream time, I am the dream time, which occasionally pops out into this lifetime, the dream I am currently living. And I cannot be who I ought to be until you are who you ought to be. My dream cannot be my dream until your dream is your dream. And your dream cannot be your dream until my dream is my dream. So many dreams, all being dreamed together in an ineffable network of destiny. All mutual in one another's love and wrath, we live as one. That Blake called the divine humanity. We must learn to live together as one divine humanity, or we will all die together as fools. We will all die together as fools. Do not abide by borrowed certainty of this, that we will all die together as fools. If you wish for personal certainty, then sit down in the fire of fear and uncertainty. Through our technological and scientific genius, we have made of this world a neighborhood, but we have not had the ethical commitment or spiritual awareness to make of it a brotherhood, sisterhood. The dreamtime awareness of mutuality has not registered in the collective conscious. The individual's dream has not yet connected to the collective dream. The neighborhood is a nice place with lots of empty boxes during the day, on the hillside, made of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same. The brotherhood, sisterhood is the celestial city of our souls, the place of intellectual contraries, mutual in one another's love and wrath, where we live as one in the divine humanity. The divine dream time has dreamed this world into existence, so that we may dream it back into its own awareness, so that we may dream that we may be dreamed, and all our relations can live as one again, in peace and harmony, for another cycle of time unbounded in space. Did you know that I am not some dream afar off? I am in your dream, and you in mine. Did you know that not one sparrow can suffer, and the whole universe not suffer in all her regions? We are all tied together in an inescapable network of mutuality, clothed in a single garment of destiny. We must not rest from our great task to expand the consciousness of humankind, to open the eternal worlds of thought and ideas into the bosom of God, our collective human imagination, and the dream time. O Savior, pour upon us thy spirit of meekness and love. Annihilate the selfhood in us. Be thou all our lives. Be thou our collective imagination, that we can turn this neighborhood into a divine brotherhood, sisterhood. so that we do not die together as fools, but thrive together as brothers and sisters in the bosom of our collective wisdom, in this dream time and the next dream time. All my relations. So you can hear some Mr. Blake coming through there, some Martin Luther King, some Rumi. Those words are all borrowed, but that's what came out 7 years ago, and it's still relevant to me anyway. And then the last one, got this from 10 poems about fathers. And I've been thinking about my father lately because he died at age 66 and a half. And I'll be 66 and a half in another month or two. And so I've always said to myself, I've got to get past 66 and a half. Or when I get to the pearly gates and I'm less than 66 and a half, my dear old dad will be there waiting, having a good old chuckle. Well, you didn't make it so far, did you, after all? Because I used to be on to him about his smoking and his diet when I was especially when I was a young medical student learning all these things. But here's a poem that made me think of my dear old father, called Hot Food. We sit down to eat and the potatoes are a bit hot. So I only put a little bit on my fork and I blow until it's cool, just cool. Then into the mouth, nice. And there's my brother and he's doing the same. Into the mouth, nice. There's my mum, she's doing the same. Into the mouth, nice. But my dad, what does he do? He stuffs a great big chunk of potato into his mouth. Then that really does it. His eyes pop out, he flaps his hands, he blows, he puffs, he yells, he bobs his head up and down, he spits bits of potato all over this plate, and then he turns to us and he says, watch out, everybody, the potato's very hot.
That is a good image.
Father knows best.
Indeed, I think you'll probably outlive him by a good number of years, sir.
Yeah. A couple of months I should be there.
At least a couple of months. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for stalwartly returning for the birthday. Yes.
Yeah. I thank you for keeping us all going, Bill. You've done a sterling job. You're very dedicated, and thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Good core group, I'd say. It's a good core group. And Tim's doing a great job. I was looking at his computer version of what we look like on YouTube, and it's like number one. So not to pressure Mary, but are you back?
You get your sound back up?
Would you like to do something? No pressure if you're not.
No sound.
No sound. You'll have to mime it, Mary.
It's usually the sound setting, is it? Is that what?
Yeah, you gotta unmute your mic and make sure you got the right mic. That's you can do a thing called test computer audio. See if it works, but
I'm not sure if you guys can hear Ted. Can you? No.
We just lost Mary.
Okay. All right. Unfortunately,
hold on. Bob Nation showed up.
Ooh. Well, we can't torture John too bad because he's got gout, and I know he's working on a good piece here. JH, how you doing there, buddy? How's your foot?
Good.
Oh, we'll say hi to Bob in a minute. Hi, Bob.
We finally got let in. I don't know.
Nobody,
Didn't know what the password was.
nobody wanted to see us.
Oh, we love you guys. Go on. You know.
Yeah.
We do. Anyway, you got to wait for a second, though, because even though we love you, Mr. Hadfield's about to go.
Oh, that's fine.
And you guys will be like the icing on the cake.
Yeah. I don't think we have anything.
I don't know if I'm reading anything. Let me get mine.
Anyway, go, John.
Okay. Thanks, Bob. And you can hear me fine?
We can hear you good. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Real loud.
Oh, is it? Well, I'll back off. I was texting Bill this afternoon, and he asked permission to use that song of mine, and I was thinking of doing it, and I said, "No, you go ahead. I've been writing songs, but not much prose." And then I told him about a dream I had, and he says, "You should write that down." So I did. Except it was 3,000 words, and it was a little too long.
Whoa.
So then I took out the carving knife and got it down to 1,600, which was about 10 minutes. So I said, "Is 10 minutes close enough?" And he goes, "You haven't learned a thing." So I think she's down to 7, maybe.
You've just used up 2 minutes with that explanation.
I know.
Samples.
Okay, going fast. He sent me the definition of an excerpt, but I found it too long and I couldn't keep my attention. So dinner with my dead brother in Jerusalem. I love the word excruciating. It's a form of onomatopoeia. I have gout in my left foot. It's been going on now for about 3 weeks. If you look it up, they use the word excruciating to describe the pain. I can readily attest. Your mind goes to funny places with that level of pain and the blackness of the night. I don't own a handgun. I thought about hobbling down to the bay and just walking into the water and floating away, but I don't have a life jacket. So I did it in my imagination. As I walked into the freezing water, the pain in my foot started to subside. So I just stood there until I actually fell asleep for a while. The imagination is a powerful thing. I started thinking about Jeebus and how he healed people if they believed he could do it. I had given him a shout out, plus of course his dad. Not a lot of response to those particular pleas. I started to think that maybe I was doing it wrong somehow. I remembered Jeebus said that our Father's kingdom was within, while I wrestled with the devil pain. Then I wondered, if hell was in my foot, where was heaven exactly? I thought about Jesus being all about love, and love's in your heart, so I went there and I waited. At some point, a window-like object appeared, and I brought it closer to see what was beyond it. I made out some vague shapes of people, some things, and a feeling of a lot of space. Then I fell asleep. My brother Robert died age 56 in August 2014 of colon cancer. Of mine's dead daughter, something my grandfather saw in World War I, and my ex-wife's dead father. These are all long stories in and of themselves, but I just wanted to introduce the idea that the dream of my brother wasn't that unusual to me. A while after Curry died, I dreamt about him. It was an unusual dream for a couple of reasons. One, it was lucid. Two, I had the presence of mind to ask Curry how he was doing this as he was dead. He just laughed, and I thought I should just enjoy my time with him. He appeared to be about 28. He was dressed in his favorite clothes of the time: brown leather bomber jacket, black jeans, his pickle stabber shoes. His long curly hair was a shiny brown. This appearance confirmed something I had read about the difference between a dream of someone departed and a visitation by them. That's another long story. Suffice it to say, this encounter would be considered a visitation. I had a couple other dreams where he appeared, and though they were nice, I'm not sure they could be labeled visitations. I did keep wondering why I never dreamt of my brother, one way or the other. Now flash forward to the excruciating pain of the other night in the window into heaven when I fell asleep, and this happened. I dreamt I was walking down a hill on a very long, narrow street. I thought it was Vancouver, but the further down I went, the more it reminded me of the old city of Jerusalem. I sensed a presence to my right, but whoever it was just outside my peripheral vision. I had a sense that it was my friend Curry, and he was taking me to have dinner with my brother at our corner restaurant at the bottom of the hill. I remember thinking that it might be an uncomfortable dinner conversation-wise, as my brother didn't know Curry well. We got to the restaurant and walked in the front door into a small alcove with a red tiled floor and stucco walls painted white. We went up 3 steps into the reception area, and a guy that I seemed to know who owned the restaurant saw me and said, "Hadfield, you're late." And I said, "We're here to meet my brother, and he's not here yet, so I ain't late." There was a doorway into the reception area ahead of us, and I stood there waiting expectantly. I heard someone coming down the stairs that went up to the left of the door. I said, "Oh, here he is." And a person came out of the door and turned to the right and walked into the restaurant. As I was saying, "That's not him," I heard someone else coming down the stairs, and I said, "This is probably him." Sure enough, my brother came through the door. He took about 4 steps towards me and embraced me, pulled back, kissed me square on the lips, and then hugged me really hard. I remember thinking, my brother never kissed me on the lips. Was I supposed to kiss him? But my head was right beside his, and he was hugging me so tightly I couldn't move. And it was so visceral, I woke up with a start. That pissed me off. I finally get to see my brother, and it's cut off abruptly. I wondered what dinner would have been. It looked like a nice place. When he came out of the doorway, he was dressed in a top that maybe used to be dark blue, but was fading into a white in a lot of places. It was tunic-like, with long flared sleeves, belted waist like dark blue jeans. His head seemed a little more elongated and rectangular than in real life. His eyes looked like slits, or they were closed. It reminded me of the image of that guy's face on the Shroud of Turin, without the beard. My brother never grew one. His clothing matched to some extent the description of how people who have died transition. At first, they present themselves as they saw themselves most comfortable when they were alive, like Curry with his leather jacket. Slowly, their garb would change color and texture as they made the transition. I read all this in research I had done on a book I found just before I actually went to Jerusalem. It led me to the writings of a woman named Olga Parks. She saw and interacted with dead people all her life. Finding these books is just another long story. Her writings jibed with a lot of experiences I had had and made me feel more comfortable about them. In fact, the experience of this intense need to go to Jerusalem was 45 years in the making. All the bits and pieces finally added up to me being on a plane, trying to find answers to too many questions. Did I find heaven within? Did my brother visit me because I found it? What's the definition of heaven? Was this part of my healing or part of my pain, or both? Do I have a highly active imagination? I know for a fact a bunch of it I could never have made up, and there was a lot of confirmation made in my search for answers. This is a very mysterious place we inhabit, and for me, to think the world only consists of what I know and what I believe is laughable. As that guy said in that book, you ain't in Kansas anymore. The end.
Whoa.
Mm.
Oh, I barely had time to draw a breath. Nice work. Well done, John. Well done. The thing that strikes me, of course, is that simply because you're a failed Christian doesn't mean you can't get to the holy gates or whatever. Wherever you're headed, I don't know where you're going. But good story. Thank you for sharing. I think we unless Mary's come back on. Oh, we've got Bob and Helen. Bob and Helen, we love you.
No, John and Debbie's daughter wanted to read earlier.
Oh, no.
No?
Just listening. No.
What do you mean, no?
I'm just here listening.
You said earlier you wanted to read.
I didn't say anything like that.
It took her mother 4 years to get up the guts. She just got here.
Okay.
We'll give you 4 years.
Okay.
I'm sorry we missed everyone else. Did John and Stephen both read? Oh dear.
They did. You're at the end, but you can always go back and listen to it online.
All right, yes.
You guys
Well,
are savvy.
I have a thought, which Bob is not necessarily supporting. Have any of you heard of Sarah Binks?
No.
Sarah Binks, the sweet songstress of Saskatchewan.
It's an old book. It's an early Canadian humor. It first appeared in 1947, I guess. Strangely enough, in my geography class, my third year geography class at the University of Manitoba, the professor would read us a section of Sarah Binks at the end of each class. I can't fathom why, but you had to be tolerant of professors in my day. But he obviously liked the book. I'm proposing that I might read some of it, but I can understand that you BC people would find it quite bizarre. Anyway, I think I'll read a bit and see what you all think. At first, there's a dedication at the beginning of the book, so I'll do that. After all, what was the beauty of sky and field and rain-drenched hill, of prairie swept by storm, of dazzling alkali flat, of hot fallow land in the sun of the summer afternoon, of the misty pastels of spreading time? All these things had been hers, but she knew that they could never be completely hers, that they belonged to the prairie and to the west, that they were of Saskatchewan for all time. Come drought, come rust, come high tariff and high freight rates and high cost of binder twine, and what about the roads? I still say to you, as I've already said to the electors of Quagmire and Pelvis, that a province that can produce such a poet may be down, but it's never out. To those of the West who have seen these things and endured these things, who have known the round of what Sarah calls the four seasons and have lived bravely through good times and bad, this book is affectionately dedicated by the author. So the first section says, childhood and early life. A plain shaft of composition stone with a simple inscription, "Here lies Sarah Binks," marks the last resting place of the sweet songstress of Saskatchewan. Below the inscription at the base of the shaft, in smaller letters, is carved the motto, "Alone," and above it, in larger type, "This monument was erected by the citizens of the municipality of North Willows and was unveiled on July 1st, 1931, by the Honorable August E. Windheaver in the presence of the Reeve and Council." Here follows the names of the Reeve and councillors, together with the names of a number of outstanding statesmen of the day. Truly a fitting tribute to so great a woman. And it is no less a tribute to the province of Saskatchewan that on the occasion of the unveiling of this monument, the register of names at the commercial house at Willows should be at the same time the roster of the greatest of Saskatchewan's sons. The Honorable A. Windheaver writes of that occasion in a letter to his committee. "It was hot as hell. There was no making it by road, and we could have arranged for a hot box to hold the 446 for half an hour, but it was no use. We had to stick it until everybody was through. I think I was wise to leave out the tariff in my speech. This Sarah seems to be something of a tin god around here. Something of a god. The tribute of a great statesman to a great artist and a great woman." Halfway between Oak Bluff and Quagmire in Saskatchewan lives the little town of North Willows. Its public buildings are unpretentious but pure in architectural style. A post office, 2 general stores, Charlie Wong's restaurant and billiard parlor, 2 United churches, the commercial house, bracket liberal, the Clarendon Hotel, bracket conservative, a drugstore, a consolidated school, and 18 filling stations make up the east side of Railroad Avenue, its chief commercial street. On the west side, Railway Avenue is taken up by the depot, the lumberyard, and 4 elevators. At right angles to Railway Avenue runs Post Office Street, so called because the post office was on this street before the last provincial election. It is, however, generally known simply as the Correction Line. Business in Willows is not what it used to be. The Board of Trade meets every Thursday night above Charlie Wong's, and the younger set of the town is beginning to give up auction bridge in favor of contract. But in spite of these signs of progress, there has been little real growth for several years. The town is now in what is known as the dry belt. Once it boasted 7 elevators. 1 was torn down and 2 were destroyed by fire and have not been rebuilt. But Willows has little need for commercial greatness. It lives in its glorious past, and to its shrine every year come hundreds who pause for a brief moment at the Clarendon House or the Commercial House, or buy gasoline at the Sarah filling station. If we follow Post Office Street or the Correction Line due east for half a mile to where it connects, we come to Willow View Cemetery, where Sarah Binks' monument stands. From a distance, it appears to rise in lonely grandeur. If we follow Post Office Street due west for a mile and a quarter from the town, we come to the northeast quarter of Section 37, Township 21, Range 9 West, the former home of Sarah Binks herself. Little remains of the old homestead. The house itself has been torn down by souvenir hunters. One of the barns leans drunkenly, and the other is about to fall. Gophers play on the site of the little corral where Sarah kept the calf. Wild roses grow where once were beans and potatoes. In the coulee, now dry, that ran behind the house, a meadowlark has built its nest. It may have been that Sarah, with the prophetic eye of the poetess, visualized this scene when, in her later years, she wrote those famous lines, now inscribed in bronze over the gateway of St. Midget's, entitled, Ode to a Deserted Farm. How changed and bleak the meadows lie and overgrown with hay, the fields of oats and barley where the binder twined its way. With doors ajar, the cottage stands deserted on the hill. No welcome bark, no thudding hoof, and the voice of the pig is still. I think I'll stop there. That gives you a flavor of the Western Canada that you guys don't know. Central Western Canada.
So when was that written?
1947, it was first published.
So it makes you think that some of those, like I follow some people on Instagram who are always photographing old Saskatchewan farm buildings.
Yeah.
Makes
There's
it
lots of them.
like some of those have actually been vacant for more than 75 years.
Mm.
Yeah.
That was a lovely little portrait. Thank you, Helen.
Well, there's a whole book. I can go on and on. We'll have bits more.
There's quite a few of her poems, which are absolutely terrible. It's wonderful.
No.
But some of the best, the funniest bits are literary criticism. They're a parody of literary criticism, and how marvelous she is, and Those are the most incisive bits. It's hard to pick bits that are not too long to get the rhythm of it, but I still love the book. When I was in high school in Ottawa, graduating year, I guess, yes, my family was moving to Winnipeg, and my English teacher, the teacher I loved most in all my years of schooling, we seemed to understand each other, knew that this author was a professor in Winnipeg, and he was hoping that I might get to meet this author, and he loved Sarah Binks. He thought it was a wonderful book.
Anyway, it's
Thank you. And perhaps that's why we've never heard of her, is it?
who knows? You have to grow up in the prairies.
Well, this book may have won the Stephen Leacock Prize for humor.
It did, yes. Mhm.
Oh my lord.
The author is Paul Hebert. Good
And
prairie
Bob,
name.
Bob, I'm sure Helen's heard this story, but did your love of the English teacher ever blossom in any form?
He was male, the English teacher. Well, not that that matters nowadays.
Way to go, Bill.
Perfectly all right. I'm not blushing. Not that there's anything wrong with that, as they say in today's society. I must have missed that cue, Bob. Well, thank you. I just wanted to thank all of you. You guys are a wonderful group, and
Is Mary still there?
is Mary still there?
Mary, can you give it a...
Hi,
Can
Mary.
you do anything else, Mary?
Mary, are you there?
The coach is
Dark
Oh,
space.
I can't see you right now.
I think maybe she fell asleep. She's
Yeah.
on the floor there.
Mary. Are you still there? I can't see.
I don't know if she is or not.
Hold on, let me get my glasses on.
She's probably thoroughly embarrassed.
I'm old now, and
Oh, look. She
You
is
can see
there.
her
I see a dark
Here.
room where Mary was.
ear.
But I think she's fallen asleep.
She hasn't said anything.
Is that her down at the bottom?
Lulled by Bob's dulcet tones.
Mary, are you there? I can help
Can't
you.
hear ya.
I can help you.
Don't worry. Ted Cadillac's here, man. I can get this working. I promise. No, she's not there anymore.
You got to get her working first.
She's been working. I can see it, but we just can't hear her. So, oh well. Okay, she might be done.
Okay, you ready? Let's crash the internet. Happy birthday to us. Happy
Birthday to us.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Wow.
Many more.
Any more? Wow. That's the definition of.
And many more.
Thank you all. Really, I mean, you guys are the ones who kept this whole thing going, and I love you all. Appreciate your hard works and your love of literature, words. So thanks to Long John. Thanks, John. I know you're listening upstairs, and Tim for being so fantastical, figuring everything out. Paul Rizal for visiting. Hi, Paul. Mahalia, Duncan. Deb, new Deb, for popping her cherry on the air.
New Deb and new John.
We've moved on. Okay. Wave good night. Thank you all.
Good night. Well done.
Thanks.
Night.
Well, we made it, Paul. God. Bloody Zoom. Thank you.
Just better hear.
Hello. Or no escape.
Tim, we made it.
When your head caught flame, it kissed your scalp and caressed your brain. I remember when your head caught flame. Though you laughed, baby, it's okay. It's buzz cut season anyway. Though you laugh, baby, it's okay. Explosions on TV and all the girls with heads inside a dream. And now we live beside the pool where everything is good. We ride the bus with our knees pulled in. People should see how we're living. We ride the bus with our knees pulled in. Shut my eyes to the song that plays. Sometimes this has a hot, sweet taste. Shut my eyes to the song that plays. The men upon the news, they try to tell us all that we will lose. But it's so easy in this blue where everything Anyone you tell your fears to will never be enough for us. Explosions on TV and all the girls with heads inside a dream. And now we live beside the pool where everything is good. And I'll never go home again. Ice and cold feel it's our favorite friend. Nothing's wrong but nothing's true. I live in a hologram with you. And all the things that we do for fun, and I breathe and it goes right away. Make believe it's hyper real. I live in a hologram with you.
The sky went violet on this August night. The sun went silent like any other night. Last night of summer slipped over the side. The moon is waning, and so am I. I walk the street, ease my mind one song at a time. I see this life rolling by one song at a time. You got to live every night. Spotlight circle high above the street. Gathering people, shuffling feet. The midway's moving, there's action around. The traveling carnies are back in town. They survive, running rides, one song at a time. I see this night rolling by, one song at a time. You got to live every night. The roller coaster, the Ferris wheel. Two lovers tried to make it real. They held the summer close to their heart.